from Malta, Daniela and David. I want to start off by sharing the presentation we prepared for you. Okay, brief rules so that we can have the very best experience during this hour. We planned for an hour webinar. You may understood already that your micros and cameras are turned off at this first stage of the webinar, because while Daniela is explaining everything about how it is to live and work in Malta, we don't have any noises or things taking the focus out of the presentation. But then in the end, you will be able to turn on your mic, turn on your cameras, ask your questions. You can either write them in the chat. Also, you can do this during the presentation as well, or by raising your hands using the button to raise your hand, and we'll give you permission to ask your question live, and Daniela will try to answer the best as she can. At the end, we will ask you to leave the session by clicking the leave button, and afterwards we will send you the presentation that Daniela will be sharing now, or any links that we share with you during the chat. And we will ask you also to fill out a satisfaction questionnaire, but that is for the end. For now, these are the rules. And just briefly, before giving the floor to Daniela, just talking about what EURES is, because maybe some of you don't know, never heard of it, and it's because we exist and this service is provided that we are here this morning. So EURES is a network, and in this network, European Employment Services cooperates. Our objective is to facilitate the free movement of workers within the European Union and the European Economic Area. These include 27 member states, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland. We provide free of charge services both to job seekers and employers, whether it's information, advice, support to recruitment. And in order to provide those services, we have a network of various advisors that are experts in mobility. There are around 32 EURES advisors in Portugal, and we are spread all over the country. But all over Europe, there are more than 1,000 EURES advisors ready to support you in your career move. We also have a EURES portal where you can find on a daily basis more than 3 million job vacancies available in all sorts of occupations. There is also an online platform where we organize recruitment events. It's called European Job Days. You can see the link in the slides. And we are also available on chat on Fridays, and of course on our social media, where you can follow all the activities we have planned for the near future. So this is a very brief presentation just for you to be aware of the context where this webinar is happening. So without further delay, I pass the floor to Daniela so that she can talk to us about Malta. Daniela, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much for that introduction. So I'm Daniela. I am a EURES advisor for Malta. And today I will be sharing with you some information about Malta in general as an island. Some of you may have already visited Malta, maybe for a holiday. It's just one flight, one direct flight away from various areas in Portugal. So it's very easy to visit. So I know that many of you have already visited Malta. But for those of you who have never been here, I will share some interesting facts about Malta to familiarize yourself with this beautiful island. And then I will also give you some information about working and living in Malta and also our contact details, just in case you would like to get in contact with us after this webinar. So let's start with some information about the Maltese Islands. So the name Malta they are a bit unsure where this word derives from, but many people think that it came from the Greek word melita, which means honey sweet. In fact, the Maltese honey is very popular. It is super sweet, and it is very popular in Malta to buy Maltese honey. So it might be the case that the name Malta derived from our sweet honey. Malta is a very, very small island with just 316 kilometers squared, while the population size is over 500,000. In summer, with the amount of tourists that we have, the population size will be much, much more than 500,000 because many tourists visit the islands over the summer periods. So we have a lot of tourism going on as well, especially it's June now, so many tourists are already here. Our official languages are Maltese and English. Of course, you are not required to speak Maltese, but if you speak English and you speak English very well, this is enough for you to live and work in Malta. As the currency, we use the euro, and we have adopted the euro on the 1st of January 2008, and Malta joined the EU on the 1st of May 2004. Our average temperatures are very, very warm. It's very similar to Portugal as well. Our average daytime temperature is 23 degrees, and our capital city is Valletta. There is a picture of an old street in Valletta. It's very beautiful city. If you ever visit Malta, you must visit Valletta. We welcome over 3 million tourists. Just for example, in 2023, over 3 million tourists visited Malta. The majority of the population practice Roman Catholic as their main religion. The Maltese love their religious celebrations. So in summer, we have what we call the festa. It's a feast, basically. And every weekend, you can say there's a festa in a different village in Malta. So we celebrate the Holy Mary and all other saints. This is a very popular activity in Malta. So there's a lot of fireworks going on, and in the town center there will be a marching band playing, and there will be the statue of the particular saint which we are celebrating on that day. So if you are here in summer, it is also a must to go to a local festa. Just you can find more information on festas on Google. So just type in festas in Malta and you will find out which festa is next. And so you find out about where you need to go. So Malta is not just one island. So Malta is the main island, is the biggest island, but there are other islands. For example, there's Gozo, which is our sister island. It is an inhabited island as well, and many people live in Gozo. There's a ferry which connects Malta to Gozo. It's just a 20-minute ferry, basically, and many EU nationals also who come to Malta decide to live in Gozo as well. So it's not just it's very inhabited. And there is another small island, which is Comino, which is practically uninhabited, but many people go there. There are a lot of ferries as well, which take you to Comino, and you can sunbathe in summer and just spend the day in Comino. And there's the Blue Lagoon as well, which is a very nice area where you can swim. So Comino is mostly very busy in summer with tourists, and there's as well many Maltese people go to Comino. So we drive on the left-hand side of the road, and in fact, only 4 European countries still drive on the left-hand side of the road, including Britain. Malta is also a popular filming location. So if you come to Malta and if you have seen maybe Gladiator, Assassin's Creed, Troy, The Da Vinci Code, and also season one of the Game of Thrones, you might start recognizing some places from these movies and series because they were all filmed in Malta. In some towns in Malta, one can also find a van would come because they sell bread, gas cylinders, for example, donuts, ice cream. The milk truck also comes in the morning. So in the morning, it's quite a busy time of the day with these different vans coming to the town center selling different things. Maltese love the Eurovision as well. So during the Eurovision week, if you go out to a restaurant, they will be many people will be watching the Eurovision, and we are big, big fans of the Eurovision. In Malta, there is a very little crime rate. In fact, it's one of the lowest crime rates in the EU. The Maltese people are also known to be very friendly and helpful. We love our tourists, basically, and when we see a tourist who would like to know more about a particular location or they would like directions or whatsoever, we would be more than willing to help. Maltese people are also very welcoming. So if you came to live in Malta, your neighbors will be more than helpful to assist you with anything that you need, basically. So Maltese people are known to be very friendly. In Malta, we have around 14 public holidays throughout the year, and we celebrate our public holidays depending on the day. So, for example, we have a public holiday coming up this week on the 29th of June. This year it's going to fall on a Saturday, but if sometimes it can also fall during the week. So the Maltese culture, the culture of Malta is the result of the many different societies that ruled Malta throughout history. We were a British colony, for example, so there are still a lot of British influences in Malta. So the Maltese culture is basically formed up as a result of these different societies which came in contact with the islands throughout the years. The Maltese language is the only Semitic language written in Latin alphabet, so it has Arabic roots basically, and a bit of an Italian influence. Some French words are also incorporated into the Maltese language, which ultimately make up the Maltese language, and we use the Latin alphabet. Malta is a touristic destination, as I have mentioned, and tourists come mostly during summer, but Malta is warm all year round, so we get a lot of tourists for the Christmas period as well. So it's not just a summer vacation for tourists. In Malta, one can also find three UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and these are the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni, Valletta, which is the capital city. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And in Malta, this is very interesting because one can find seven megalithic temples in Malta, which are some of the oldest freestanding structures in the world. Some of them are even older than the pyramids, just to give you an idea of how old these structures are. You can visit them, of course, in Malta, just do some research so you will know where they are located. And it's very interesting to visit these temples. So, just to give you some idea of the Maltese traditional foods. In Malta, if you are Maltese, for example, we love our traditional food. We have much more than this. I'm just showing you three types of traditional foods which we love so much. The first one, the bread, is the Maltese ftira. It is a very crunchy bread, and we traditionally fill it in with tuna, capers, and olives. And it's very delicious. You have to try it once you visit Malta. The one underneath the bread is the figolla. It is a sweet like dessert, and we enjoy it especially during Easter time. It has an almond paste filling, and then it's covered either in chocolate or in icing. It's really delicious as well. And on the right-hand side, that is the Maltese pastizzi. It is either filled with peas or with cheese, depends on the type that you choose. It's very crunchy. It's a savory food as well. It's very small. You can compare it to the hand, and some people buy two or three sometimes. It is very small. It's very delicious. You can enjoy them warm with a cup of tea. It's really good. So enough with food and with the Maltese culture. So I'm going to explain to you a bit the economic sectors in Malta. So the aviation sector in Malta, the aviation sector has seen very strong growth over the past decades. With the presence of many good quality operators in Malta, we have some good companies in Malta which operates in the maintenance and repair of aviation. The ICT and shared services, this economic sector is also very strong in Malta. Um, for example, in Malta, we have strong ICT infrastructures, and by multiple links to the rest of the world, this sector is not in any way limited by the island's small context. The life sciences sector has a wide range of presence in Malta as well in the Maltese economy with very well established operators in the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and medical devices. The maritime industry, of course, Malta is an island, so you can imagine that the maritime industry is also very popular in Malta. Malta is ideally located at the center of the Mediterranean, a few miles off one of the busiest global shipping lanes. The tourism in Malta, of course, it's one of the most important sector of the country's economic contribution, and it in fact contributes to about 15% of the nation's gross domestic product. The iGaming industry, this is it's like a new phenomenon. So the iGaming industry has grown into Malta's most important contributors, basically. And today the industry employs more than 6,600 people. We have a lot of online gaming companies, online casinos, which are constantly recruiting people who speak various languages. We promote quite a lot of vacancies with our colleagues in Portugal as well, because sometimes they require Portuguese speaking customer service agents and game presenters and so on. So this is a very important sector in Malta. Okay, so some information of what you need to do before you leave your country and move to Malta. So before you leave, it is important that you inform the taxation department that you will be leaving Portugal in this case and that you will be moving to Malta. So this way your tax account will be closed. It is also important to contact the Social Security Department and ask for the U1 documents. We will be sending you this presentation at the end of the webinar, so don't worry about these details because you will have all of the information. But for you to know, the U1 document is a statement of all Social Security contributions which you have paid in your country, and you will need to bring this document with you to Malta. So once you arrive here, you go to the local Social Security Department and submit this document. This is needed because if you start working in Malta and you, I don't know, you become unemployed after 6 months, for example, you will be eligible to receive unemployment benefits, not only based on those 6 months which you have worked in Malta, but also using those social security benefits which you have paid in another EU country. So all social security benefits which you've paid will be amalgamated together, because if you come to Malta and start working here, the Social Security Department won't know that you have already worked in another EU country. This applies even if you go to another country, not just Malta. So before you leave your country and you're going to move to another EU country, apply for the U1 document. Now, if you are unemployed and you are already receiving unemployment benefits, for example, or any other type of benefits, it is important to speak to the Social Security Department in your country and ask for the U2 form this time. The U2 form will allow you to transfer these benefits from Portugal to Malta. We always recommend that before you make your move, you speak to your local EURES advisor, because there might be something in this slide which is missing, which you need to do. But of course, I am an expert in the Maltese context. So if there's something else required by the Portuguese government or something else which you need to do before you leave your country, your local EURES advisor will know more about this than I do. So to speak to your local EURES advisor, ask them about more information on what to do before you leave Portugal and move to Malta, and they will give you more information about this topic. So the health insurance card. This card, we normally use it when we visit another EU country on holiday purposes. So we take it with us just in case we would need to access emergency health services. This card is very important to be brought with you to Malta if you move to Malta, because if you start working here, and during the first few weeks, you won't have a pay slip, for example, because you're still waiting for your first payment, for your first salary. So if you would need to make access to the health service in Malta, if you need to go to use emergency health services, you need to present this card. Once you start working here and receiving your salary, you will be entitled to the same service as all residents. So this is only needed for the first few weeks or months from your arrival in Malta. It's important to ensure that this document is not expired, because some people come to Malta and then they realize that they need to go to the hospital, but this card is expired. So check your documents before you leave the country, because you can renew it if you are already here, but it will be much more difficult to do so. So make sure that it is not expired before you leave. Recognition of qualifications. So if you have any type of qualification, a diploma, a degree, a master's qualification, It is important to get the recognition of your academic and vocational qualifications with you to Malta. Especially if your qualification is in Portuguese, you need to get also the translation of that particular qualification in English. In Malta, all qualifications and CVs must be in English. If you present a certificate in Portuguese, of course, no, many people don't read Portuguese in Malta, so we will ask you to present your qualification in English. This can be done through the ENIC website, and you can also contact the National Commission for Higher Education in Malta for more assistance with your qualifications. Now, finding a job in Malta. So, before you leave your country and move to Malta, we highly recommend that you secure a job before you leave your country. So, we are always saying that in Malta we have a lot of jobs, we're constantly looking for people, which is true. But sometimes you don't know how long it is going to take you to secure a job, to get a work contract. It might take weeks, but it might also take months, depending on your situation. So it is much more easy if you secure a job and receive a work contract and then move to Malta instead of coming here and start looking for a job. Because in case it will take long, this will be, of course, of a financial strain on you. So EURES Malta can help you with this step. So if you want, you can send us your CV. You have our email address on the presentation, and we will help you to find a job before you make your move. If you would like to look for a job in Malta on your own, you can also do this. We recommend that you register on the Jobs Plus website. Jobs Plus is the public employment service in Malta. Just register on the Jobs Plus website, upload your CV, and you can start applying for jobs directly through the Jobs Plus portal. If you decide to move to Malta without a job, this is also possible, even though it is not recommended. You can still do this because if you come here, you can register as an unemployed person with Jobs Plus and you will be assigned an employment advisor to help you with your job search. So if you decide to do this, contact us for more information about the process. If you are going to move to Malta with your family and if you have children under the age of 3, so from newborn up to 3 years, if you are going to be working in Malta, parents can benefit from the government's free childcare scheme. So given that the parents are working, your baby, your child can go to childcare absolutely for free. The school system in Malta is also for free. So if your children are aged 3 and up and you decide to enroll them to the government school, the schools are also for free. Applying for a job in Malta. So, to apply for a job in Malta, it is important that your CV is updated. Make sure that you take a look at it and ensure that you have updated it in the last, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. And it is in English. Very important that all CVs must be in English. Even if you are applying for a Portuguese speaking vacancy, just keep in mind that the person receiving your CV will not be speaking Portuguese for sure. So if the vacancy is for a Portuguese speaking customer service or whatever, your CV must always be in English. If you don't have a CV or if you would like to update your CV, you can use the Europass website to upload. You can upload your CV and edit it if you would like to insert something else, or you can create one from scratch. Now, when you apply for a job in Malta, you should submit your CV that contains the following information. So, your personal details, name, surname, a correct email address, which works and with no typos in the email address, because this is how the employer is going to contact you. And it is also important to list that you are in Portugal at the moment so that the employer knows whether you are already in Malta or still abroad. Some information about your educational background, information about your studies, degree, diploma, whatever you have, and also some information about your employment, your previous employment. Skills as well, so you can include your language skills, technical skills, digital skills, and so on. If you are applying for a job where the employer is in the job description is asking for a particular qualification, for example, a portfolio, or is asking for a copy of your qualification, attach it with your application to avoid any unnecessary emails back and forth. Now, working in Malta. So, just to give you an idea, these are some of the shortages that we have in Malta. Do not worry if the job that you are looking for is not listed here. These are the shortages that we always have, but in Malta, we are looking for people to work in different fields. So just contact us and we will help you with job matching if you're looking for a job in Malta, which is not listed here. So these are the most popular requested jobs for in accounting, administration, marketing, construction. Of course, everybody, not just in Malta, everyone's looking for construction workers, chefs, jobs into tourism industry, contact center, in all industries basically. We need people in IT, software development, gaming, in all industries. So just get in contact with us and we will help you further with this. Now, some information about working in Malta. I know that it is a bit early at the moment, but it's still good that you know the process. So once you find the job in Malta and you move to Malta, it is important that the first step is to apply for the national insurance number. If you find the job in Malta, email us. So we will send you the links so that you will apply for the national insurance number because you can apply online and you'll receive it within 2 to 3 working days. The national insurance number is the social security number. It's the same thing, okay? So you will be insured under Malta's social security system. The next step is for your employer to register your employment with the Public Employment Service. In Malta, all employment must be legally registered with Jobs Plus. So once you start a new employment, your employer will inform the Public Employment Service that you have started working with that particular company. So you need to provide your national insurance number to your employer. That's why the NI number is the first step. And then your employer will register you with the Public Employment Service. Now, the third step is to apply for a residence card. You can apply for the residence card straight away as soon as you start working, but you have up to 3 months to do this process, to do this part. Okay, so after 3 months of living in Malta, you must have your residence card. So, some working conditions, employment contracts in Malta, they can either be indefinite, which means that they do not expire, or else they can be a definite contract. For example, you have a contract for 1 year, 2 years, and when that 1 year or 2 years are up, your employer might decide to renew your contract for further periods, or the employer might decide not to renew the contract. So you would need to look for a different job. In Malta, there's what we call the probation period. So this means that if you started working today, you have between 6 months and up to 1 year as a probation period. This means that in Malta, the employer cannot decide to try you out. So there is no trial period in Malta. You have your probation period from the first day of your employment. It is usually 6 months, which is 1 year if you start working in a managerial role, okay? There's 1 year probation tied to it, but the majority of the jobs have a 6 months probation period where you will receive your salary, of course, but you can decide during these 6 months that this job is not the job for you, and you can terminate this employment without giving so much information to the employer. You can just say, I would like to stop working this particular job. And on the other hand, the employer can also decide that they would like to terminate your employment as well. So there is no trial period. So this is just to protect the employee basically, because this way the employer will have to pay you from the first day of your employment. If the employer tells you, I will give you a trial period of 1 week without pay, let us know immediately because this is illegal in Malta. So our working hours, we work for 40 hours and the employer can ask you to work for an 8 hours addition on top of those 40 hours. But these 8 hours will be considered as overtime. So if the work is really busy and the employer will ask you, can you stay for an extra hour tomorrow, for example, this extra hour will be paid as overtime, which is usually 1.5 hours of the salary for each hour worked. The vacation leave in Malta, this varies depending on how many public holidays we miss. As I have mentioned earlier, we have a public holiday, which is going to fall during the weekend, this weekend. So we get more vacation leave entitlements for that particular year. As an average, you will have 216 hours of paid annual leave for full-time employees. There are other types of leave in Malta, for example, birth leave, sick leave, maternity leave, marriage leave, and so on. The notice period. So, if you decide to terminate your employment in Malta, there is the notice period tied to it. So, it depends on the employee's continuous length of service. The more you work, the more you've been engaged with the particular employer, the more notice period that you will have to work. For example, if you have been employed for more than 1 month, but up to 6 months, there's 1 week notice. So during that 1 week, you will still receive your salary, and the employer will have some time to find your replacement, basically. Tax and national insurance. So it is important to keep in mind that wages in Malta are always quoted in gross. So if you are looking on the Jobs Plus website and you come across a vacancy which the salary is, for example, 30,000 euros, keep in mind that taxes and the national insurance contributions will be deducted from that pay. So taxes, the tax rates depends on the amount of your income. So if you earn between 9,100 euro and one up to 14,500, you will pay 15% of that amount as taxes. I'm quoting the table on the right. So in 1 year, you would pay 1,365 euro as taxes. So on and so forth. Okay. So the more you earn, the more you pay. So the tax brackets are 15%, 25%, or 35% for people earning 60,000 and over. If someone is earning up to 9,100 per year, which is not very common, you won't pay income tax on this amount. No, this is just taxes. Then there's the national insurance, which is 10% of your basic pay. So once you start working, the employer will take care of all this. So you don't have to worry about taxes and national insurance yourself because you will receive the payslip at the end of the month or whenever you get paid. And the employer will write on this payslip, you earned an X amount was deducted as taxes, and this was deducted as national insurance. So the employer takes care of all this. Now, if you decide to move to Malta and work as self-employed, of course, this is also possible. National contributions and taxes are calculated and paid differently because, of course, you would need to pay your own national insurance and taxes. If you would like to move to Malta and work as self-employed, please send us an email and we will give you more information about this as well. Just to give you some ideas, these are some average salaries for 2023. So elementary workers, for example, cleaners or factory workers and so on. The average salaries, okay, so this varies a lot, were around 14,000 per year. Clerical administration office jobs were around 19, 20,000 per year, while other managerial roles were around 36,000 per year. This is, of course, an average amount just to give you an idea. Sometimes people say, but these wages are very low. Keep also in mind that in Malta, the cost of living is not very, very high. It is getting more expensive nowadays, but I think this applies everywhere. But when compared to other EU countries, we can easily say that Malta is quite affordable to live here. This is an example of a salary, so you will get an idea of how much national insurance and taxation you will pay. So this is a salary of 20,000 euros per year. Okay, so in a year, the gross salary is 20,000 euros. 10% of 20,000 is, of course, 2,000. So 2,000 euros will be paid uh, on different salaries, of course, as national insurance and taxation. You will pay 2,275 euro in a year. So as a net, the net amount is 15,725. This is how much you will have at the end of the year after paying national insurance and taxation. This is just for you to understand the difference between the gross and the net salary. Now, some information about living in Malta. I have already talked about the residence card. So once you start working in Malta, you need to apply for a residence card. After 3 months living here, you must have the residence card on your possession already. So spouses and children under the age of 21 can also accompany the EU national. If your spouse is not an EU national, they can also apply for a residence card once they move to Malta. Just send us an email if you'd like to know more about this, because there are different procedures, of course. And after a continuous period of 5 years in Malta, you can apply for permanent residence. Accommodation in Malta. This is a very popular question. We get a lot of emails asking us for accommodation in Malta. So, accommodation in Malta is privately owned, so properties for rent can be found on real estate agents' websites. If you just go on Google and type in real estate agents, letting agents, property for rent in Malta, many companies will come up. Just contact them directly and they would be more than willing to help you with finding accommodation in Malta. I always recommend that you avoid the touristic areas when looking for accommodation because it will be much more expensive when compared to other areas in Malta. Malta is really, really small. Keep this in mind. So if you are working in Valletta, for example, you do not need to live there necessarily, because if you catch the bus, you will get to Valletta in no time. The island is very, very small. So just keep this in mind, okay? Just stay away from the touristic areas to find a more affordable apartment. So the rental cost will vary based on the area and the size of the apartment, but just to give you an idea, the average price for a two-bedroom apartment is around 1,000 euros, 1,500 sometimes, depending on the area. It is important to keep the accommodation cost in mind when compared to and compare it to your salary. Healthcare in Malta. In Malta, we have the state hospital where you can get healthcare, receive healthcare for free. This is funded by the national insurance contributions that we pay with our salaries. And there's also the private healthcare system. There are also a lot of private hospitals in Malta. These are, of course, not for free, but you can decide to do private healthcare, and if you prefer to go to a private hospital, you can also do this. In Malta, we have a strong general practitioner delivery primary care base, and the public hospitals provide secondary and tertiary care. This means that in Malta, when we start feeling sick, for example, we do not go to the hospital straight away because in local pharmacies, you will find a pharmacy in every more than one sometimes in every town or village in Malta. And in the pharmacy, there would be a doctor. You can go to the pharmacy and ask to see the doctor, and you will receive healthcare straight up there and then. The doctor's visit is not for free. It is around 10 to 15 euros. But for example, if you start feeling sick, you need to go to the doctor because the doctor will also give you the sickness certificate, which you need to give to your employer. But for more if you fall, for example, and you need to have an X-ray or so on, then you need to go to the hospital. The state hospital is for free. There are also many health centers around Malta, which are also owned by the public system. So these are also for free. It is important to take your payslip with you if you go to the state hospital to show that you are working in Malta. Public transport in Malta. So if you come to Malta before you start living and working here, public transport is very cheap. It is around €2 for a ticket, and it operates between 5 in the morning and 11 p.m. If you start working here, and if you have the residence card in Malta, you can use the public transport for free. So you can go to work for free. The public transportation is absolutely for free once you become a resident in Malta, once you start working and living here, basically. So you can go to work without paying for the bus ticket, go out in the evening without paying for the bus, and so on. There is also a ferry service which operates between Slima and Valletta. These are two very big cities, basically, where many people work in these areas. So if you work in either Slima or Valletta, you can cross using your Talinia card, which is the bus card, for free as well. The cost of living, I have already mentioned this a bit, but just to give you an idea, if you go to a dinner for two people in a mid-range restaurant, it would cost around 70 euros. A pint of beer is around 3.50, and a cappuccino is around 2.30 euro. This is just to give you an idea. Many groceries offer also very affordable vegetables, and there's also the fruit and vegetable truck, which visits the Maltese town and villages as well, and this is the cheapest way how to get groceries. EURES Malta can help. So EURES Malta is part of the Public Employment Service, and we help job seekers who would like to move to Malta, as well as employers who are looking for job seekers to come here. So if you would like more information about working in Malta, living in Malta, please feel free to send us an email. I will share our contact details so we can set up a one-to-one meeting to discuss your needs further. So these are our contact details. Our email address is eures.jobsplus@gov.mt. You can also visit the Jobs Plus website and the EURES Malta website. We are also active on social media, so just follow our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn page, and you can also message us on social media if you prefer to contact us on social media rather than sending us an email, and we will answer you straight away. We'll try. Thanks so much. I will stop sharing my screen to see you again and just to check whether there are any questions for me.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniela. It was very interesting and thought of presentation. Just before giving the possibility for our candidates to ask their questions, just 2 minutes to present a targeted mobility scheme, which is called EURES Targeted Mobility Scheme, for you to know if you are planning to move to Malta. So it is financed by the EU. This program is designed to help European citizens to exercise their rights to freedom of movement across the EU. And the objective is to increase the mobility inside the EU by matching candidates with employers with hard to fill vacancies. And it complements on the EURES mobility services by helping to overcome some of the most common obstacles to mobility. This slide shows you the target group, the people that are eligible for the support. So job seekers or job changers age 18 years old or plus, nationals of a EU country, Norway or Iceland, or long-term residents in these countries, interested in moving to another EU country for a job, a traineeship, or an apprenticeship. If it's a job or an apprenticeship, it is to have a minimum 6 months contract. If it's for a traineeship, a minimum 3 months contract. And the qualification level is not a condition. So any qualification level is allowed. We also help employers, especially specifically SMEs, okay? And the same work contract, 6 months for jobs and apprenticeships, 3 months for traineeships. So what do we support you with? What are the main obstacles? The language. Sometimes you need to up your language knowledge to be able to get a job or to be able to progress in the job. So we help you. We give financial support for language courses, up to 12-week language courses. We can also help you during the job interview phase, paying you an allowance so that you can go to a physical in another country interview. Then also help you financially with your relocation expenses. Also, if the family is going with you, there is an extra support, financial support. And the job interview support and the relocation support can be complemented by a supplementary trip allowance if you come from a very difficult economic situation, or if you have a disability or some other problem, there is a supplementary allowance that we can offer you. And finally, about the recognition of qualifications, also this is useful for many of your cases. So there is also a financial support in this case. trainees and apprentices can also get like a scholarship, an extra money when salary is low. Sometimes it happens, so traineeships and apprenticeships. But to know all about this is just very brief. To know all about this, you need to just take notice of this golden rule. You must apply before it happens, before you go to the interview, before you relocate, before you register for the language school, before your integration program in the company. Always contact us before. This is good for you because either we can help you search for this opportunity, we can help you with any questions you have. EURES advisors are very knowledgeable, and you are eligible for this support if you do it before. Okay, this is the contact for EURES Portugal TMS team. But if you contact Daniela or the Malta EURES services, they are also aware of the program and can give you all important information about this. So, questions. I have one question on the chat. In the chat, Elder Ferreira asked if let me get to him. If the job opportunities in Malta are only for EU citizens or EU residents can also apply. Can you give us some information also about third country nationals, because sometimes that information is important,
Yes,
okay?
yes, of course. So all of these positions are for EU nationals. If you are not an EU national, but you are married to an EU national, you would share the same rights as your EU national spouse. So if you are an EU national or have the same agreement as an EU national, you can apply for these positions. If you are a third country national living in Portugal and you have a residence document in Portugal, this residence document does not give you the automatic right to live and work in any other EU country. So if you would like to move to Malta, you would need to find a job here, to apply for the work permit and to receive your residence permit and so on. You would need to start the process again in Malta. The residence card that you have, if you are a third country national, only allows you to travel to another EU country using that document, but not to live and work there.
Okay, thank you. Ligia is asking for the floor. So, Ligia, you can turn on your mic and ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm just
Morning.
wondering, hello, I have two cats, two little cats. Is it easy to take the animals with us?
Yes, many people do that. Of course, you would need to they would need to have the necessary vaccinations before they enter the
Okay.
country. So I will send you the will send the our sorry, I will type our email address in the chat. Just send me an email and I will send you the links so you can go to your vet and let them know what type of vaccinations they need to enter the country. But of course, yes,
Okay,
they can
okay.
come to Malta with you. Don't leave them behind, please.
Yeah, never, never.
Of
Thank
course.
you, Daniela. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have Nelson, also wanting to ask a question. Nelson, please, you can turn on your mic and your camera if you wish.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Morning.
Yes,
Can hear
perfectly.
you.
Okay, good morning to everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I just wanted to make an observation because I'm not sure if you are aware of it or if it's my issue. In the jobsplus.gov.mt, I think the website is down. We can't check anything.
It's working
So
for some
if this
strange reason.
happens, how are we able to check the jobs that are available? Should we email you with our CV and our profile, and
Yes,
you
you can
can help
always
us?
email me. Yes, you can always email me with your CV and I will suggest some vacancies to you. However, the website seems to be working. I am looking at it
Okay,
right now. So this is very
maybe it's my
strange.
problem. Maybe it's my problem. It's possible. I'm not sure.
And I
But
believe that Susanna also managed to access the website, right? Because I can see that she
Mm-hmm.
wrote it's working in the
Yes,
chat.
I tried it when we were
Okay.
okay, that's good.
first
Andrea is
informed.
That's
saying I
good.
can access
It's my
now, so
issue.
maybe the issue I think there was a lecture there was an issue because Andrea wrote I can access now, so maybe the issue is already solved. So maybe there was
Okay,
some
okay,
glitch while we were speaking, but it should be okay now.
okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Nelson. And you can see that Daniela also shared contacts on our chat, so you can save it for later if you want to.
It is also in the presentation, so don't worry if you do not manage to take a note. Just send me an email with your updated CV in English. Just let me know what type of positions you would be interested in, so I will suggest vacancies based on your preferences as well, not just qualifications, of course.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And Nelson is saying that the website is working. It was something with his browser, so good. It's good to know that everything is working.
There must have been something while I was speaking, but it seems to be working now. I did not even realize because I was giving the presentation at that time. So thank you for confirming that you can access it.
Yes, yes. Any other questions from you? Take the advantage that we have Daniela here with us today. Andre trying to speak, please.
Hello. Thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
I have a question. So, if I have any doubts in terms of the IT field, because I am have a junior, I am a junior in system administration in IT infrastructures, and if I email you with my questions, my doubts, can I have
yes, of course.
like idea how is the market?
Yeah, I can also send you many vacancies which you can take a look at, so you can see the different type of vacancies, the salaries, and so on. So there are a lot of vacancies in that area as well. So send me an email with your.
Okay, I can see the marketing, the gaming industry have some job vacancies in terms of IT
even in
field.
IT, of course. Yes.
Okay.
So just send me an email with your.
Okay. Okay, in the Job Plus platform, I searched for IT, but I only found one offer. So maybe
on Jobs Plus.
best. Yes.
But there are other websites, not just the Jobs Plus website. So I will look everywhere in all different job portals in Malta. So I will suggest more vacancies to you. Don't worry about this.
Okay, thank you for the information again, and have a nice day.
You too,
thank you, Andre, for your question, because it also opens the door for the other ones that are listening and have their personal and more specific questions. You know that Daniela is waiting for you to ask her, and she will help as best as she can. Also, EURES Portugal, we are available to help you with any question you have about changing countries, with the doubts, your fears. So please take advantage of the information we gave you this morning. I don't know if there are no other questions. Maybe we can thank Daniela again for her availability, for being here today, for being so clear, and for giving her direct contact to you. And we hope to see you, to hear from you soon. If Malta suddenly is in your idea, can be part of your plans, we are here for you. Please contact us, and we will help you as best as we can. Daniela, thank you again. It was a pleasure being with you this last hour. And
I
see
hope
you
that
soon.
I convinced many people to come to Malta. If you have any questions, maybe you remember something else later on, just send me an email and I will be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much, Susanna.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Bye, everyone. Bye.